Hey, Ronnie Dale, four-wheeling in westernaustralia.com, and welcome to another day in the bush. This video is a tips and advice video on how to be in a convoy and how to organise a convoy. So that's full drive, overland, convoys to and from and during your destinations or your trips. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to make this video is it has been requested numerous times, but the main reason why is I do notice some people that are new to running convoys or haven't been in a convoy before, there's a few bits and pieces that they need to know. Now, especially for those guys who want to lead a convoy. I've seen people sort of stressed out and freak out too much because they're thinking about way too much stuff. They need to just relax and just take it easy, and these tips will help organize you so you can get out there without worrying about it. A convoy all starts with a head and a tail. Look, you can call the head anything. You can call it spearhead or lead point, which are the two that I use. And there are a lot of other terms as well. You can call it rubber ducky, whatever the hell you like. Just pick something. Now, with the rear, the tail, it's commonly known as tail end Charlie. And the reason why he has three names, well, the reason why I think it has three names, is when you're on the radio and sometimes you press that button after you start talking, and then at least you can still hear Charlie or tail end Charlie. So tail end Charlie, the guy at the back, lead point or spearhead at the front. That is the fundamentals of your convoy. Now we get into the rest of the stuff. When you got your convoy on the highway or even on the tracks, and on the gravel roads, wherever it is, always request everyone to have their headlights on, because then you can see them a lot easier. Especially if it's dusty, then the people behind can see the taillights in the dust as well. Another good tip for convoy driving, if you're the lead vehicle, always keep an eye on the mirror and tell everyone to put their lights on. It's much easier to see where they are. And of course, if you lose sight on the vehicle behind you, slow down, let them catch up. Now talking about night driving in your convoy. It happens to me a lot for some reason. Now with night driving, I allow people behind me to have all their lights on if they need to. I will adjust my mirrors so I don't have to get blinded by the light. And I can't see out of my rear vision mirror, which is usually the main issue. That's where you get blinded. Now sometimes I will ask them to turn their lights off because it can cast a shadow of your vehicle in front of you and make you freak out thinking there's something coming at you. But if they're far enough back, if you can, allow them to have all their lights on, because then they can actually see what's going on at night. So that's just something that I allow people to do, and well, everyone in our convoy normally allows people to do. When you pass the windmill, you take a left turn, so you stick to the left of the windmill and then you take a left turn. So please mark the corner if you can't see the vehicle behind you, and just do that until tail end Charlie comes up. So another handy tip. When you are on these tracks and you're coming up to a corner and you're turning, say if it's a T-junction or something, announce which way you're going, but also make sure that the vehicles, they mark the turn. So before each vehicle will turn, they've got to make sure that they can see the vehicle behind them. That way no one gets lost, because it's quite easy to get lost even out here. This is very important. I know of people who don't use this and they have had people lost in the bush. I kid you not. Must do. How you going, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
Good, mate. We've got a convoy of 13 cars. Yeah. So, yeah. Might get to go forward a little bit more, then I can pop around your van there. Good on you, mate. Are you heading out that way to camp? Yep. When it comes to convoy driving, especially tag along tours or just any convoy driving really, majority rules. So the group that has the most vehicles is the one that has right of way. So if there's a group of 10 vehicles, meaning a group of 8 vehicles, it's a group of 8 vehicles that need to pull over.
very rare that that will happen. Usually it is a group of, in our case, 12 cars. We might meet a convoy of 6 cars. Well, the 6 cars have got to get out of our way. That's just how it works.
One of the most important pieces of equipment for a convoy are UHF radios or CB radios or just any communicational radios. So you have contact with the whole convoy. Now, everyone doesn't need to have a radio inside the vehicle. They can have a handheld. But you need to keep this in mind. If you have a convoy and you have all the guys at the front with a vehicle mounted radio and all the guys at the back with a handheld, you're not going to hear them. So you need to mix it up a bit so you can get people to relay for those who can't hear through the handhelds or whatnot, because they only transmit so far.
When you're out in the tracks and you're leading a big group, it's good to pick a quiet UHF channel. And the reason for that is the last thing you want is other people to cut in on your channel, and then the guys in your convoy may not be able to hear you properly. For us, it's no problem currently because we're out in the middle of nowhere, out in the outback. Another thing while we're on this subject, before you head off, ask everyone if they have a 40 channel radio or an 80 channel radio. If everyone has an 80 channel radio, use the channels in the higher end, because then you're less likely to get any traffic on those channels.
Tail end Charlie, please advise when you have shut the gate. Over.
Yeah, 10-4, 1.
Tip when driving in convoy, if you speak to someone on the radio, reply to them, copy 10-4 or roger that, so they know that you have heard what they said. Tail end Charlie, what is your current location? Have you passed the pink flowers yet?
Well, we have passed some pink flowers.
Copy that.
Alright, the next tip is calling the all clear. So say you've all gone over this steep dune and there's one vehicle at a time. Once you are up and over, you call all clear. Say if there's multiple dunes, say there's 2 or 3, you shouldn't get too many more in between your convoy. You can say all clear dune 1, all clear dune 2, all clear dune number 3. That way the person behind knows that there is no car stuck at the top or just on the other side that he's going to hit. So the all clear. Also for tight corners, all clear. This leads me on to announcing if you need to stop. So for whatever reason there's something wrong with your vehicle and you need to stop, try and pick a safe straight section where people in front and behind you can possibly see you. If it's an emergency and you have to stop on a tight bend, or say the convoy stopped and you end up on a tight bend, you need to announce, hey, I am on a blind corner, please slow down, please watch out. Because if you don't, they may come around the corner at breakneck speed and then bang, they're in the back of you. So keep that in mind.
So if you're leading a trip, make sure you tell all the participants that, encourage them to talk. Tell them not to be shy when they're on the radio. That way you're more likely to get feedback from them if they need help or whatever. Also, if you are one of the participants in a group that's being led by someone else, don't be afraid to talk. If you see the vehicle in front of you that might be just about to bottom out on something or something's loose, don't be afraid to talk about it. Just get on the radio and get amongst it. When talking on the radio, exclusively to maybe the lead vehicle, they can explain a lot more and take a lot more airtime on the radio. But for everyone else, don't tell your life story. Don't tell people what you have for breakfast and all that stuff, because the lead vehicle may need to get on that radio real quick and tell everyone who's going to stop or something, or anyone else for that matter. Someone might need to stop all of a sudden because there's a problem, and if they're on a blind corner, you know what's going to happen. Another good idea when you're running convoys is if you have people in the convoy with a radio that's not very powerful, like a 1 watt or a 0.5 watt, have them close to the middle or close to the front of the convoy so they can receive the lead vehicle and they can talk back. Another tip when you have a lot of vehicles in your convoy and you call a radio check from the lead vehicle, every man and their dog's going to get on that handset and start doing a radio check. So the best way to do it is to grab a handheld, even if you don't have one, borrow one, walk up to each individual vehicle, call out the vehicle, ask for a radio check, and then do so until you've done all the vehicles. Then you know that everyone's radio is working and is on the correct channel too.
As a lead vehicle, you have a lot of responsibilities. You have responsibility of getting somewhere on time. Now, that can always be a factor to something, unforeseen facts, tyre getting punctured, whatnot. But you're also responsible for, are you allowed in this area? Expect everyone to be relying on you. You are the lead vehicle. You are taking them in there. They all assume that you are allowed to be in this area. So make sure that wherever you take your convoy, you are actually allowed to be in there. Otherwise, you're getting everyone in trouble. So it's your responsibility. It's also your responsibility to make sure that people can actually tackle an obstacle up ahead. Look, if you think someone's going to struggle, don't just plow on ahead and pretend nothing's behind you. You need to be there for the people that may get stuck in a certain situation. They may not have 35-inch tyres, 3-inch lift and all that extra grunt. They may have a stock vehicle and they need to take a different line. They may be new to it. You need to implement people amongst your convoy in the correct order so that people can advise other people as they're driving. This leads me on to spotting. Now, you need to get out of your vehicle and help people spotting with a handheld radio. So as a lead vehicle, you're going to need a lot of radios. You're going to need 2 in-cabs and 1 handheld. Or you can get away with 1 in-cab and 1 handheld.
On very dusty roads, it's a good idea to keep a good gap between the convoy. That way, no one's going to run up each other's back ends because they can't see from the dust. Keep in mind though, for those people with the weaker radios, if your convoy ends up being a couple of kilometres long, which is not uncommon, it's actually quite common that will happen on the real dusty roads, especially here in the Australian outback, then you may not be able to reach the people at the back on the radio. So sometimes it's good to have a middle vehicle to relay for you. If you have any newcomers on your trip, make sure that you disclose all the information and hints and tips about the terrain ahead. So say if you're coming down a hill or up a hill, let them know when to use low range, what gear and everything you're doing, and let them know what you're doing. And every time you go from 4-wheel high to 4-wheel low, just announce it, especially being the lead vehicle, because then people who are new to 4-wheel driving, who are not used to coming out, they will have a fair idea of what gear and what they should be in. Also, you can mention about when you're engaging lockers and why they're necessary. Some rather big washouts up ahead. Just you're better off straddling them.
Always call through oncoming traffic, and also obstacles. If there is a tree on the track, don't just go around it and don't say anything. You go around it and you tell people, hey, there is a tree coming up on the left-hand side of the road. Hey, there is a severely deep rut on the right-hand side. Keep left. There's a couple of rocks coming up. There's a washout coming up. Slow down. So many things you need to call through. Now, this is where it gets a bit complicated. If there are 10 vehicles in a convoy, your lead point, you start calling all through these things, the guy at the back is going to be like, well, by the time I get there, I'm not going to know where anything is. So in this situation, you don't call through every single little thing. You call through the significant things. Look, if there's a lot of stuff going on, you just say, look, caution on this track. I recommend this speed. Just be careful. There is stuff everywhere. But the major things, say there's a major washout, you need to announce that washout. Hey, I'm coming up to a washout. Look out. Recommended speed, recommended stopping, whatever. And you'll find that severe things, the group will then relay. They'll be like, hey, Johnny, I'm up to this washout now. And he'll be like, hey, Barry, I'm up to the washout now. You get the picture? Very important. If there's a lot of dust, you may not see it, and you can severely smash your vehicle. Rightio, I hope you found all these tips helpful. and it will make your convoy run a bit smoother next time. And if you are usually part of a convoy but not leading it, well then I hope that you feel more comfortable being in one. So just, if you implement all these tips, you will have no problems. So thanks for watching. You can subscribe here, and you can support the creation of content like this at patreon.com/RonnieDale. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.